Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's video I would like to look at how MTPredictor did on the US E-minis yesterday. That's February the 9th. Yesterday. Actually it was an absolutely brilliant day. Started very well with the 3-minute ES. This is the 3-minute ES, and as you can see we had a lovely TS3 sell here. But the most important thing is that this was not just an ordinary TS3 sell, it's what I call my holy grail trade. And interesting enough, we were actually in our MTPredictor customers only training webinar at the time as this was unfolding, and as such we looked at this unfolding in real time in yesterday's training webinar. So it's a great example of how MTPredictor customers can actually see these setups unfolding actually in real time in a training webinar. So great example. So what's the difference between this and a normal setup? Well, if I put the analysis on, the normal setup at the first target would have been a nice 2.7R profit. However, the Holy Grail trade, we assume that this is a wave 2 and we're looking for a wave 3 swing, so we play for the typical wave 3 WPT target, which is down here. And as you can see, it did unfold exactly as anticipated for a lovely 5.3R profit at this typical wave 3 WPT. Again, there was no hindsight on this because just after this trade was triggered, so right back up here, even before it started to decline, in the webinar I was outlining to MTPredictor customers not to come out at the first target but to go to the typical wave 3 target. So a great example of using the software in real life trading situation with no hindsight. So why is this a holy grail trade? Well, it's all because of the large degree resistance at this high. So for this we go to the 15-minute chart of the ES, and here's the 15-minute chart, and what we looked at was we put DP back on the last important high, which was here, and this then nailed the high up here. So what we're saying is the market odds on was going to make a decline into at least this DP, then probably we were going to get down to this DP here. And I actually said in the webinar that this was probably the two levels where you'd be looking for support. What did the market do? Well, it went back down to this level here, then actually later in the day it went back down to the level here that I highlighted literally right at the beginning of the day, and that nailed the low of the day for you. So all the MTPredictor customers who are in that webinar had this DP on their chart and knew about this support zone literally hours and hours and hours before it even got there, and as you can see that actually nailed the low of the day beautifully. But what that meant for the 3-minute trade, let's go back to the 3-minute trade, is that we went to the typical wave 3 WPT and as such put a nice plus 5.3R profit in the bank there. So a great start to the day. What unfolded after that? Well, the market rallied back up and then went down into our DP low on the 15-minute chart, then rallied back up again. There were no more setups on the ES, but this is why I say you should follow all the 4 E-minis. Because if I go over to the YM, I'll just clear this analysis off that I had on there before, you can see that we had a standard TS4 sell here. We had an initial bite at the cherry here. If I put the analysis on, there was actually a losing trade, sorry I missed that, there was actually a losing trade that came in just by one tick here, then stopped you out. So yes, we do make minus trades, but the trade here was kept small at -1R. Remember the trade on the ES? That was plus 5.3. So this was a standard MTPredictor trade, nothing different about this. Black STFs, you can take it. First trade was a -1R, then you can see we had a second attempt at the high here. So if I put the analysis on here, you can see this was actually beautifully a beautiful trade that nailed the high perfectly. The market went down into our DP target here. At this point in time, if I put the cursor on, at this point in time the STF was weak, so we know that when it's weak we look to take profits, so that put another plus 5R profit in the bank, and this was a perfect standard MTPredictor trade, so every MTPredictor customer should have caught this and as such nailed a lovely plus 5R profit. And look at this, we were taking profits at approximately the low of the day. You know, you can't ask better than that. So far we've actually caught the high of the day on the 3-minute ES with our Holy Grail sell, and here we are taking profits at the low of the day on the YM. Now wouldn't it be nice to catch this rally up here? Well, again, let's go to the 15-minute charts, and as we've already, I'm just going to skip through quickly, and as we've already seen, we had this DP support, this one here, on the chart before the market even got there. So all MTPredictor customers would have known about this as the market was coming down, so they knew that this was an area where support was likely. Let's also skip through and have a look at the YM, and as you can see here on the 15-minute chart, look what we had. We had an automatic buy setup. So again, this was telling customers that a low was coming in on the 15-minute chart. So how could have traders made use of that on the 3-minute? Well, if we go back to the 3-minute chart, we already know we had a decision point low at this level here, off which we banked a nice 5R profit. So if I just clear the chart here and put the DP on by itself, which is off this pivot, we can see that we came in here and made a potential support zone. So we could have thought that this could have been the low here. Our initial target would have been the DP off the high here, which is where the market went to. So our first attempt at this would have probably been a losing trade, because we got taken in there and then stopped out. The market went down, still didn't go really below the decision point, made another low bar here. If we look at the stochastic at this point, look at the stochastic divergence. This is a real sign that a low is coming in. So we then have a second bite off this low here, again back into our target here, and as you can see, this trade would have come in, not been stopped out at this low because it was double bottom, and then rallied up very nicely into our target. So you could have had a -1, then another +4R profit on there. So let's just add that up for the day. So remember, on the ES we had a short from the high of the day, so we nailed the high of the day. We went down, caught this entire swing down here for +5.3R. We then came back over onto the YM, we had a -1, then we had a +5R profit down into the low here. Then for the advanced traders among you, knowing that the 15-minute support was coming in, we then had a lovely support at the low here, of which we came in and did a first bite at it and took a -R loss. But in case that loss was small, the second attempt coming in here on lovely stochastic divergence would have then come in and actually made us +4. So if we just add that up, so it'd be +5, -1, +5, -1, +4. I mean, that's +12R on one single day. That absolutely amazing, particularly the way we managed to nail the high on the ES or with our TS3 Holy Grail, and then advanced traders could have nailed the low of the day with this decision point trade, manual trade off the low here, and then standard traders in the middle could have had a lovely standard trade coming in here for first a -1R small loss, and then secondly a lovely big +5R profit. So an absolutely amazing day on the E-minis yesterday, where MTPredictor managed to nail pretty much every turn and every swing that the market made yesterday, and as such came out with a very, very good profitable day's results overall.